Hello and good day, welcome to our YouTube channel, God's Promises. And today's video will be a fast, concise overview. Book of Micah, chapter 4. Let's get started now. The Book of Micah, chapter 4, is a prophetic vision of a future in which God will restore peace and prosperity to His people. The chapter begins with a description of a time when the mountain of the Lord's temple will be established as the highest of all mountains, and all nations will stream to it. This vision speaks to the universal nature of God's plan for humanity and the central role that Jerusalem will play in that plan. The prophet Micah goes on to describe a time when the Lord will judge between nations and settle disputes between peoples. This is a message of hope for those who are suffering under the oppression of powerful nations and rulers. Micah promises that God will come to their defense, and that justice will be done. Micah also speaks to the idea of disarmament and the end of war. He describes a time when people will beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. This is a powerful image of the transformation that will take place when the peace of God reigns supreme. In verses 4 to 5, Micah speaks to the idea of personal responsibility and the need to walk in the ways of the Lord. He encourages people to walk in the name of the Lord our God forever and ever. This is a reminder that living a life of faith is a daily choice, and that we must continually seek to align our actions with God's will. The rest of the chapter describes a time of restoration and renewal for God's people. Micah promises that God will gather the exiles of Israel and bring them home. He describes a time when the Lord will reign over them and they will live in safety and security. This is a message of hope and encouragement for those who are struggling in exile, and a reminder that God is faithful to His promises. The teachings and lessons of the Book of Micah, chapter 4, are many and varied. One important message from this chapter is the idea of God's universal plan for humanity. Micah's vision of all nations streaming to the mountain of the Lord's temple speaks to the idea that God's plan is not just for one particular people or nation, but for all of humanity. Another lesson from this chapter is the importance of seeking peace and justice in the world. Micah's vision of a world in which people beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks speaks to the idea that true peace can only be achieved through disarmament and the end of war. Finally, the promise of restoration and renewal in the Book of Micah, chapter 4, offers hope and inspiration to those who are struggling. The message that God will gather His people together and bring them home reminds us that even in the darkest of times, there is always the possibility of redemption and renewal. In conclusion, the Book of Micah, chapter 4, is a powerful and inspiring section of the Bible that contains important teachings and lessons for us all. Whether we are seeking to understand God's universal plan for humanity, working for peace and justice in the world, or simply looking for hope and renewal in a difficult time, this chapter has something to offer us. By studying and applying the teachings of Micah, we can deepen our understanding of God's message and live our lives with greater purpose and meaning. Thank you for visiting us today. Please share with us your favorite Bible chapter below in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it really does help our channel grow. Looking forward to see you back here for our next video. Always take good care.